We're doing outstanding August 15, 2024. We'll call it Retail Sales Thursday. Take a look at stock futures. S&P is rallying this morning. S&P futures up nearly 1% now. NASDAQ futures up 1.2%. And small caps, which have been underperforming, are rallying. Small cap futures up 2.2%. So finally, after about 5 sessions of chop on the small caps, they look like they might find some footing here today. So good news, and I was talking about it this week with the three important data pieces, the PPI, the CPI, and the retail sales this morning. Pretty much, I wouldn't call it a Goldilocks situation, but certainly better than expectations in regards to what could have happened. We could have had hotter than expected inflation numbers on both PPI and CPI, and weaker retail sales numbers, and then the big R word would be coming back. It was only last Monday that everybody was talking about an emergency rate cut and talking about the recessions coming. And now the big R word, and I put it in FinTwit in the chat room this morning, the mystery R word was retail sales. Best headline number since April 2022. And it looks like SPY might be 550 bound today or tomorrow. So good sign there. I have it on the chart on the watch list. 545 or so looks like the support, which we broke through here in the pre-market, and then we had once the data came out, we rallied. Just bodes well. And then on top of that, you have Walmart earnings this morning, and I think it's all-time highs on Walmart when it opens. Great result. Their e-commerce business is booming, which it's funny. I remember a long time ago, all these brick and mortar names were so far behind the curve of Amazon, right? Amazon was doing everything to scale their e-commerce business, while Walmart and Target and all these other retailers were so far behind. They were, not matching prices and things like that. And then finally realized, wow, we gotta get on board. And now you can see it's really having an impact on Walmart's numbers. So good sign there today. Yesterday I was a little concerned about sell the news. I wouldn't be surprised if we have some fluctuations here today, maybe down to 548, 547. There'll be some chop, but I think if you look, one of the things that had me concerned over the last week or so has been the VIX, and VIX was at 20 or 21 on Monday. It was at 65 last Monday, and here it is back at 15. So I think it just kind of shows all the volatility was primed for this data week, and the data definitely met expectations, and now you can see the VIX is responding. So that's a good sign. And then the small caps at 207 and change, which is the 50-day moving average. Actually, it's 208.20 now. Good sign here. You look at the IWM. Where's it going to open? 210, 211.35. So looks like it's going to be a good day for small caps. All right. So individual names. You start looking. I mean, Dell's up here at 106 and change. I think it was 88 and change when I got it last Friday. Let's see, what was the last Friday? Last Friday, I think it was 88, 89. So I talked about price targets at the start of the week, 101.50. And then once it got to that, I thought 104.50, 104.75. It got to 104 and change yesterday. I think it was 104.37. I locked some more of my 110 strikes in for next week. And I'll probably, right at the open, lock just a couple more of the 110s in, and then just leave a few runners into tomorrow and into next week. And I may look for some higher strikes, maybe some 115s or even 120s, maybe August 30s, just to encompass a Jackson Hole. And who knows, the huge reversal we had, well, the huge pullback from early June, late May, June highs. I mean, it was cut in half. So maybe there's a rebound of 25%, maybe. So you start doing the math there. It's at 115, 120. So not going to sit there and think it's going to continue to skyrocket, but the key part was the 50-day moving average 105.11, 200, excuse me. It breaks through that. I think it's off to the races again today. So that's Dell. SE Limited, it's sitting here at 77 here in the pre-market. That's good. It hit 78.25 yesterday. I locked some of my 80 strikes in for over 100%. I'll continue to hold those. Have plenty of time on those strikes, and I may look for some further out strikes. You look at that 75 handle. Once it broke through, I think that's a key sign there. And then you start looking at some of these other areas, 85, 90. And I went on my rant yesterday and kind of gave a little detail or color on why I'm bullish on the name. And when I say bullish, I could see you can make a case that the stock should be trading into triple digits in the coming weeks. So especially ahead of their next earnings. I wouldn't be surprised if it's trading at triple digits ahead of their next earnings. So don't be surprised if you see me add some more strikes on that one. Um, Baidu, just a disappointing day for China stocks overall yesterday. And then this morning had Alibaba reporting earnings. It was a mixed bag. So they missed on revenues, beat on EPS. But this is one of those reports that maybe it's a reversal. So gap down at the right after the earnings, down to 75 and change. Is starting to bounce. It's up to 78 now. Would not be surprised to see a red to green move on Baba. If that happens, I think it's going to translate into a move in Baidu as well. So I was looking yesterday. I just didn't want to catch a falling knife, but I'll be looking at right at the open for Baidu to possibly add some strikes into next week and maybe even some spec calls if Baba reverses at the open. Uh, Baidu reports a week from today, so that'll be the next big report or the next big catalyst for Baidu. But I think it might ramp up into its earnings report, especially if Baba does a red to green today. Clear Secure up another 2% today. This thing's a monster. Ever since its earnings, I talked about it being the earnings that kind of was finally the one where the stock reacted in a positive fashion. Because typically, what would happen is Clear Secure would report a great quarter, a beat and raise, say they're buying back stock, issue a special divvy, and then the stock would reverse the earnings gap and close in the red. And that happened so many quarters in a row. And then finally, similar quarter, strong beat and raise, but the stock is reacting the other way. And I would not be surprised to see this over 30 in the next week or two. The September 30s look interesting on a risk reward basis. I think they were 25 cents a couple days ago. I think they're 25 by 35 now. Don't be surprised if I add some of those today. Uh, Not much to add here on turns. Turn Pharmaceuticals down another 3% yesterday. No news, no catalyst. It's right at its 200-day moving average at 631 or so. If that holds, I'll look to get the October strikes. Uh, ENVX, the last two sessions, some chop. Yesterday closed down 4%. Day before was up about 6%. Still can't break through its 200-day moving average at 1090. If it doesn't break that today, you would think here's the perfect backdrop for small caps. And considering ENVX small cap, it might get a bid here today with the rest of the market. But if it doesn't, I'll look for some inexpensive puts to play for a move under 10 again and down to $8. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Jackson Hole is next week, so it starts a week from today, and I believe it'll be sometime in at noon or 12:30. I don't know if it'll be Eastern time, so it might be 2:30 in the afternoon. But Powell, typically the Fed chair has the opening remarks on Jackson Hole. I keep looking. I'm trying to find an exact time and date of when Powell's expected to speak, but I would assume it's going to be a week from today, somewhere in the afternoon time, Eastern Standard Time. So I don't even know if he's going to have prepared remarks because typically when he has statements that might move markets, there's prepared remarks that come out first, and then he'll do his spiel. But have to think he's going to paint that picture of cutting rates. There's a 100% probability now the market's priced in for a rate cut in September. There's like a 40% probability of two cuts, well, a 0.5% cut, and he's probably more in a position now than he's ever been to actually be a little more aggressive in his comments about what they're going to do. So would not be surprised if he kind of lays the picture for at least three cuts through to end the year while trying to keep his tone conservative in regards to an inflation and full employment, because he doesn't want to step on his toes just yet, because the Fed's in a position now where they can cut rates and not where people are going to question if they're doing it too soon. Um, the question now the question was coming up last week is if they didn't do it soon enough. So that's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other things I was looking at here. I think that's it. What did I have on here? Okay, that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.